What's going on, y'all? Welcome to X Factor Fantasy Football. This is your host, Swiper, and as you can see, a little lonely today. Everybody got something going on right now, so I'm going to be with you. Jordan might pop in with us in a minute. But, y'all, we got to get straight to what happened in fantasy football this last weekend. So, as you know, I got this league that I started, and we have had a lot of interesting things that have happened this year. Started off the year 0-4. 1-4 straight after that. I had a matchup this week with one of my homies, and I ended up losing 132 to 127, and I lost because Kupp and because Jamar Chase had the two of the worst games they had all season. Now, Jamar, granted, to be fair, they were bracketing him the entire game, and so he didn't really have much of an opportunity to get a lot of balls. T. Higgins caught over 10 balls this last week, but I would say Kupp, man, definitely been letting me down a little bit the last couple of weeks, y'all. But it's all good because guess what? I'm going to be sitting at 4-5 after starting off 0-4, 4-1 in the last 5. Got some more stuff coming up. And, there's a bunch of stuff to tap into for fantasy football this week. And my brother Jordan, Mr. Lakers fan himself, Mr. Bron fan himself, bro, how are you doing, man? How's everything going today? How's your fantasy football team looking, Brody?
Should be en route to another win.
Bro,
there's some doubt, but shouldn't be much doubt. I'm up by 40, and I have Brees 2 versus 1 tonight. So if two guys go off, who knows? But I should be okay. I should be okay, but you never know.
Herbert and Keenan Allen, that's a little dangerous. But
it's always dangerous, because they can combine for 50 or 60. But Brees, as long as Brees has a solid outing, I should be able to hold off, even if they have big games. So have a couple other money leagues where I'm first and I think second or third respectively. First if I win this one, so if I win this matchup, so it's going well, but it's 9 weeks in. I don't really care about that until I'm in week 14 or 15 to see how I'm doing then. You can get to the playoffs, be the number 1 seed, and it's fantasy. It's like regular NFL playoffs. You lose 1 week or lose 2 weeks if you do 2-week matchups, and you're out. So it doesn't really mean much until we get to the playoffs.
Nah, your team's been solid all year, bro. I mean, if anything, it's been the opposite of mine. Mine started off trash, then it got really good, and 4 straight wins, and then now obviously going to take this L. But I actually feel really confident in where I am. I mean, week 9,
you bounced back very well.
And I think Javonte's coming back this next week. The Kupp is on a bye, but to be fair, Kupp's been on a bye the last 3 weeks. Hadn't scored more than 10 points the last 3 weeks. That quarterback situation they got going on. But let's tap into it, man. Like, any of the players that you can think about off the top of your head that had the best performances from this past week, I think I'm looking at week 9. CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game?
I did. I started tapping in once it started getting really good. One of those unexpected, you have those every now and again where it's like it's a game where you're coming into the week, so I'm definitely betting the combined under, and then they go to a shootout just unexpectedly. And that was that game. I think let me see. I think Baker had a good game. Rashad had a good game, and then of course 5 touchdowns, setting a rookie record. Again, like we said earlier in the season, if you have been tapping in, we've told you he's a rookie who's not a rookie. Looks nothing like a rookie whatsoever. So 470 yards, of course, surprises you, but him continuing to ball out and have one of the better fantasy performances of the week does not surprise me. I think it's borderline. I don't know where he ranks this year, but he's bordering on gotta start him.
Who are you talking about?
Mr. Stroud.
Yeah, Jordan, your service is jumping in and out a little bit. But even if I'm looking, Rachaad White went off this week. Ramondre Stevenson had that really long run.
They had Dak and CD stack.
Yep.
Against the Eagles defense, which you never would have thought.
Well, yeah, they had CD in the slot, and he was burning everybody alive. So 191 yards for CeeDee Lamb on 11 receptions. And then
that fumble, did they count that fumble at the end?
I'm gonna look. I don't see a fumble.
Yeah, on mine it says he fumbled because I know he was trying to lateral at the end of the game. And I think the Eagles actually
he did. He got a fumble loss. He sure did. What if you lost your week
that's
on
what
that?
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, or the Eagles, if you got the Eagles defense, maybe that gave you some points.
That's true.
Otherwise, when they were getting like that types of stuff is always interesting to me because it's at the end of the game. You don't think much of it from the actual game standpoint, but because like it was a fumble, but it's not a real fumble. He's trying to lateral the ball in the last play.
Right.
But
yeah. And defensively, bro, the Colts defense had 28 points versus the Carolina Panthers. I think a lot of people expected something like that. The Cleveland Browns had a really good game versus Arizona. Another one that shut out with 7 sacks and 2 interceptions. But a defense that's actually been playing fairly well lately, bro, is the Raiders. You know, I had the Raiders, I think, in my other league. And the Raiders had 2 interceptions, 8 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and they had 19 points. And this is their second straight double-digit point. Listen to this. The Raiders, 13, 11, 5, 4, and 19 for the last 5 weeks, but a double-digit fantasy defense so far this year. So shout out to them.
They're not terrible. They're just decidedly mid, decidedly in the middle, but they're not terrible. Like the hoopla surrounding their team would make you believe.
Right. And then the Chiefs defense, man, they had 16 points versus Miami, bro. That pick 6 was insane. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was is pretty boring for the most part. Turned up a little bit towards the end, but that game started off very slow, especially if you're waking up at 9:30 on the East Coast.
Hey, let me ask you a question. So Jonathan Taylor, he had a 74% snap count this past week. And last week it was like 50-50, and now it's at 74. And he had 47 rushing yards, 22 reception yards, had a reception touchdown, ends with 17.9 points. Do you think that Jonathan Taylor, the 74% snap share, do you feel like that's like signs of where we're headed for him the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I think they want to try to win that way. I think that he's locked up. I had the take last week that I think that, they want to try to save his legs a little bit. So I don't think it'll go totally on the other end. I don't think he's going to be. How many times did he carry the ball this week?
Bro, let me check, bro. He has, where is he?
Because I don't think go ahead.
I'm trying to find it. He had exactly 18 carries.
Yeah. And low mid-20s of touches on a week-to-week basis, which of course is great volume. I think that was last week where he had 36 carries.
Right.
I don't think those JT days are going to be here this year. I think they're going to be a balance of wanting to rely on the run, but also not wanting to run him into the ground because he's got to do it. So I think, the volume is going to be there. The 70-30 sounds about right. I think that'll mean something different than maybe it may have meant in past years. Like 70-30 now, I think will mean like 23 to 25 carries or 23 to 25 touches rather, versus like 30 to 35. We're only running the ball type of thing. And plus Gardner, ultimate gunslinger. He can throw the ball a lot if you need him to, but that's not always a necessary for turnover-free football. So I think it'll be pretty balanced.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, my audio freaked out just now.
Oh,
bro. By the way, it's real. Dalton Schultz had one bad week 2 weeks ago. Bro, 27 points this last week versus Tampa Bay. He had 16, 19 and a half, and 13. Bro. So that's one. And then another one out of nowhere. Back-to-back 20-point weeks for Taysom Hill. Do you think that's going to stay? Like, do you think Taysom Hill's going to have high volume the rest of the year because of where they are offensively?
Not to the point where I'm going to, because he's still listed as tight end, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not to the point where I mean, he's a fine streamer, I suppose. But not to the point where I would want to start him and lock it in every week. But I think what it's going to do is it's going to become annoying for if you have Kamara. I think that's going to be more so what it is. It's going to be more of like Taysom's going to have not enough points for you to want to start him every week, but he's also taking away a few points a week from Alvin. It's going to be one of those
You feel like
annoying
he's a good flex though? Like, if you do have Kamara, would you want to have him on the roster as a flex?
week to week with Taysom. Unless you caught one of those weeks last year where it's like, or I think it was last year, the year before, where he was playing quarterback, but you could start him as a tight end type of thing.
Right.
Starting him, unless I'm very thin at the tight end position, and it's like, what other options do I have? At least I'm having somebody who's carrying the. But then again, he's not really catching a lot of passes either.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to really cash in on anything, he's going to have to score a touchdown for real, which, he could. It's not bad chances week to week, but if he finishes with, 2 catches for 7 carries for 50 yards, okay, that's 6.6. You can probably get that 6.6 with more touchdown upside, or like more passing opportunities at least elsewhere if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
PPR league. So that's where the math becomes kind of iffy, because it's like he might be a good streamer, but set it and forget it. No, but he's still taking away and potentially vulturing goal line work from times, if you maybe not as much, if because you probably not starting Derek Carr, but for anybody you're starting in that offense for real, down by the goal line, because it's like, we're in the goal line, let's put Taysom in the game, and it's like, okay, this could be a chance for Olave to catch a touchdown, or for Derek to throw a touchdown, or for Alvin to run one in or catch one. It's like dead end value. No one gets it. It's almost as bad as if I'm the Lions and the third string tight end catches one. I was like, nobody's starting him, so how I even put him in the. But real football versus fantasy.
Right. Yeah, man. I'm actually really excited to see kind of what Taysom does the rest of the year. It's fun watching him. Like, when he comes in the game and just like, what's coming, but it's just a matter of
Exactly. You
stopping
can't stop it.
All right, biggest disappointment, bro. Now I will say this: I want to be fair to Jamar. Jamar had a down game, quote unquote, in week 9, but again, bro, like, they were bracketing him every single possession, and that's why T. Higgins ended up going off. Cooper Kupp, it's so frustrating, bro. If him and Matthew Stafford are on the field together, he's wide receiver 1 maybe in fantasy. If him or Matthew is healthy and on the field, he's basically cooked. Like, at this point, like, do you think we'll see what happened with Brett Rippon. Is Cooper Kupp somebody that you're like guaranteed starting if Matthew Stafford doesn't come back, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, my theory. I give it multiple weeks to kind of see like
Right.
what's what.
Well, even Puka fell off.
It's the quarterback play. They weren't throwing the ball. There's nobody back there. Puka was getting targets. I think he may have led the team in targets, and it's
Right.
just it didn't matter. It doesn't really matter because they don't have good quarterback play back there. So if the quarterback's out, then I'm very worried about.
Did you see the game at all? Like, the game plan they were running? They were just running the ball.
Yeah, they were just running the ball. Yeah, they had 10 pass attempts. Like, I think because I was watching it, I tapped into it like late second quarter and started watching the rest of the way through. Because I was looking at my team and saying, like, hey, what's going on here? Why is what's happening? And sure enough, they weren't throwing the ball at all. So if Matt's not healthy, and this is the thing, like, it's a chicken or the egg type of situation, right? Well, it's not just that. So they have to think about long-term ramifications as a team, draft position, all that stuff. I think they own their pick. I can't remember if they own their pick or not, but if they do, they have to start considering that type of stuff. The T word. They also have to consider, and also Matt's future has been uncertain, widely reported uncertain if he's going to play beyond this year. You have to think about that, plus okay, we think we could potentially be competitive, but do we think that enough to we're putting so they have a lot of calculations
Right.
going on that have not just this year ramifications that could impact your fantasy team this year because Matt might end up sitting when he would otherwise go just
Right.
because they don't think their team is as good. So like, why do it? Why put him out there? Why
This is
put him
the
in harm's way?
second year of that though, bro. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous,
that's the
man.
thing. Yeah, yep. I think they thought I don't know what their plan was coming into this year. It seemed like the first couple weeks they were more competitive than even they themselves thought they would be.
Well, remember in facts and stats, I think a couple people ranked them like they were top 14 team in the league at one point.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, I remember, and it's like I don't know. I feel like they were trying to be competitive this year because like why otherwise would you bring
Yeah.
why would McVay come back? Why would you bring Stafford
Right.
back? Right? You bring the band back together if you didn't think you would be competitive, but it's just not good. It's just weird vibes there. It's like very meh vibes. There's no even if
Right.
you watch them play when they were playing well, there's no juice. So
Mhm.
those types of things that you have to keep an eye on because it could be an indicator of what an organization's strategy is for this year moving forward, and then that can impact your fantasy team.
Well, let me ask you a direct question, man. Let me read this to you. Okay. This receiver was drafted very high. This is for the last 5 weeks for this receiver. 7.4 this last week, 2.1, 12.7, 4.9, 8.5. Take a guess as to what highly drafted receiver that is.
Is JSN?
No, higher.
Oh, JMO?
No, higher.
High? Oh, higher. Huh. Who was drafted higher? JMO JMO was top 12. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. This year, this past year,
This season, this player is a top 2 round
in the
player.
in the fantasy draft. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, he's a receiver. You're gonna have to tell me because
Seven,
I could get it, but I'd be here for like 2 minutes thinking for
bro.
the team.
It's Devontae Adams.
Oh wow, yes. I'm thinking young guys like regular draft
Right.
still. But like yeah, no Tay, yeah, yeah, it's bad.
Bro, but it's like he's open. They just can't.
Yeah.
They're giving Jacoby Myers more targets just simply because like they're running different things for him that apparently O'Connell and the rest of the quarterbacks
Mm-hmm.
can throw. Like he's wide open.
Randy Moss in Oakland all over again.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
bro.
that's what it's feeling. That's what it's starting to feel like. He started the year pretty hot. You're thinking like
Mhm.
it could be right with Devontae, but it's starting to look like that's another team that you don't know what they're trying to really do. Like I know there's a lot of juice with
But they just
Antonio
won.
coaching the team now and everything, but they don't really think they can win for real. I don't think so. We wonder like what's the strategy going to be moving forward.
But I'm saying they just won. How could they possibly? But I just don't understand their strategy. Like, why would you pay all this money for a receiver and not throwing the ball?
Yeah, I think they kind of they thought they were going to be better than they were with McDaniels. They thought McDaniels, Devontae, bringing back Josh, bringing in Jim. This was the future, and then 18 months into it, a year and a half into it, you're firing the coach, you're firing the GM, and it's like they're just blowing up the whole plan. It's like, I mean, we're both NBA heads. It's like Nets. You have all this glitz and glam. You open a new arena, blah blah blah, and with the Raiders in the case of new, all this stuff to put yourself on the map, and then a year later, it's all gone. That's what
Right.
it feels like.
Well, bro, let's get to Monday Night Football tonight, man. It's actually going to be a really fun game. Tonight, you got the Chargers and you got the Jets tonight. One, who do you think is going to win this game, and who are your guaranteed plays?
Where's the game played?
The game is being played in.
Because that actually will factor into my prediction.
It's in. I think it's in New York.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick the Jets tonight. I like the energy around the Jets. Right now they're 4-4, I believe. If I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
they are
Yep.
Yeah, they're around there, 4-4, 4-3, something like that.
They're 4-4. Yeah.
They have great energy. Seeing Aaron walk around with no crutches, no cart, no nothing, no boot, which is interesting. And they seem to have found a formula with Zach to where it'll
They're 4-3, and then the Chargers are 3-4.
He's 4-3. Wow, even better, above 500. So, yeah, they found a formula seemingly with Zach to where he can not mess the game up. And so, if they can keep that up, I think that the Chargers tend to be a team that it seems like the way that the games start or how high flying their offense can be in spurts that they are up 20 or up 50, 14-20, and then you look up and it's a 3 or 6 point game. That's the kind of team the Chargers are. So I think if they leave the game in the balance there, the Jets are going to take it. But I think if it's, if they jump on them early, then the Chargers will win. But I think it's going to be a close game. So I'm going to take the Jets, and then I'm pretty much going to start Brees on the New York side. Garrett Wilson is probably a flex at best. And then Keenan and Justin and Eckler on the other side, especially Eckler with the pass catchers being down. You got Palmer.
What about Quentin Johnson?
Sneaky. Flex possibly, yeah. If I have some opportunity left over, yeah, because he did good in when Josh went out. I think he had like 5 catches.
Would you rather have Quentin Johnson or Joshua Kelly tonight?
Or who?
Joshua Kelly.
Oh, Quentin for sure. I think the opportunity is going to be there. I think the floor is going to be there for sure. I think Eckler is the one guy I'm looking at who, of course, you're starting him every week, but he could see a little bit of an uptick with the receivers going down. Of course, you can elevate guys. You can, from the practice squad and give guys an opportunity, but at some point, that volume is just going to be promoted within. So it's not like the practice squad guy coming up is going to take Josh Palmer's volume. I think that's going to be dispersed between, Eckler getting a couple more catches and then Keenan getting a couple more catches, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro. I'm starting Garrett. Garrett's actually played decent, even though the quarterback situation is crazy. Brees, Eckler. I'm definitely flexing Quentin Johnson. I actually debated between Quentin Johnson and Romeo Doubs over the course of this weekend. Went with Doubs. Doubs didn't end up actually meeting his expected fantasy output. So, of course, Quentin Johnson's going to do it, and then he's going to get like 15 points, and I probably could have won if I would have just made that one decision, but whatever. It's the way fantasy works. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a really good game. Jordan, we'll be back this week to talk about Monday Night Football, talk about the upcoming week, because we're getting into like crunch time now, and I'm even starting to feel it.
Trade deadlines are coming up for different leagues.
Trade deadlines coming up. We're about to be in week 10. Oh, we're about to be in week 10 of fantasy football. Playoffs start on the
15th week.
14th?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It might be the 14th week. I have to go back and check. But yeah, they're.
We have 4 more games to the playoffs.
Already.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I need to. Let me ask you a question. 4 and 5 after this week. The team I have, do you think I can make the playoffs?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking at it. I think the thing to keep an eye on for you is not just winning; it's scoring points, because the tiebreaker, being what it is, points always starts with like the points scored. I think you're going to have a lot of teams in our league that are bunched at around the 500 mark, anywhere from 6 to 8 wins, and whether it's seeding or trying to get in general, I think that scoring points is going to be the name of the game, not just winning. So I think you do have a good chance, though. I think it's you and a couple other teams that are going to be like right there.
Yeah, man. But we'll see, y'all. But we'll be back for X Factor Fantasy Football, y'all. We have a lot to tap into. Thanks, Jordan, for coming out today. Great conversation, y'all. We will see y'all on the other side.
See y'all Wednesday.